The year was 1865. The country was raw, weary, and divided after 4 brutal years of civil war. As northern and southern states struggled to heal, a faction in Congress, led by Abraham Lincoln and other abolitionists, pushed to settle an unresolved issue: whether the United States could truly be a land of liberty when millions remained enslaved. They argued that the fight for the nation's soul was not only on the battlefield but also in its laws. A divided Congress, fractured by deep-seated prejudice and political tension, stood as a formidable barrier to the amendment. Many feared that freeing enslaved people would upend society as they knew it, threatening the economic power of the South and the racial hierarchy deeply embedded in America's institutions. Some said it was too radical, too dangerous a step. But for Lincoln, there was no other choice. This was no longer just about the preservation of the Union. It was a moral reckoning. Lincoln had issued the Emancipation Proclamation 2 years earlier, in 1863, freeing enslaved people in Confederate states. Yet, he knew this was not enough. Without a constitutional amendment, slavery could continue in parts of the country after the war, and new laws could eventually restore the institution. Inside Congress, each vote held a world of consequence. Lincoln and his allies worked tirelessly to win over enough representatives, pleading with them to imagine a future where all men are created equal wasn't just a phrase, but a reality. The atmosphere was tense as the votes were cast. Some lawmakers switched their votes after Lincoln made personal appeals, promising federal support for economic transitions and using every ounce of political leverage he had. On January 31, 1865, the House of Representatives passed the 13th Amendment with a narrow margin. The moment was electric. The gallery erupted with cheers, and many wept openly. But the fight was not over. The amendment needed ratification by at least 3/4 of the states. Months passed. Lincoln's assassination that April cast a heavy shadow over the nation's hopes. Still, states continued to ratify the amendment, carrying on his legacy. On December 6, 1865, Georgia became the 27th state to ratify the amendment, securing the majority needed to enshrine it into the Constitution. The 13th Amendment was officially adopted, forever outlawing slavery in the United States. Across the nation, enslaved people tasted freedom for the first time. Generations of oppression had finally met an undeniable victory. But for many, the end of slavery marked only the beginning of a new struggle for equality and justice, a fight that would continue to echo for generations. The 13th Amendment stands as both a triumph and a reminder. The cost of freedom is steep, and the path to justice is paved by those courageous enough to face the hardest truths of their time.